Hello. Hi. My name is Chris Farah. Welcome to my YouTube, where today, as it's Tuesday, March 19th, I will be talking about life and the television shows that we all watch together. By watch together, I mean that we watch in our own separate lives and then we gather here on my YouTube or my podcast, Doggy Sweeties, with my BFF, Wahima of Just Call Me Wah YouTube fame, to discuss television shows, which now I should just be called shows because the fact that I say television makes you know that I was alive during the 90s because that's when we watched television on televisions. And now we just call them shows because we watch them on different devices. Hi. So if you're like, I keep looking at her face and she looks crazy, I'll tell you, yeah, that's true. I went to Phoenix and I came back. I spent a lot of time with my lovely niece and nephew. And then when I came back to California, I woke up Monday morning, which was yesterday, with a bulging under eye bulge. Under my eye is like swollen. I don't know why. It started to be like somewhat painful the night before Sunday, and I did not understand why. Now I had fallen off of a bike. I don't remember hurting my eye or poking it in any way. I definitely skinned a knee, and so when I woke up on Monday and my eye looked like this, swollen AF. I don't know if you can see. I mean, just side note, look at my profile here. You can see the indentation of my really deep under eye socket. Normally, I have dark, deep under eye sockets, you know, and if you look here, you can see how basically I don't have an under eye socket in that eye. Isn't that so funny? Anyway, all this to say, I use like One Medical, which now is bought by Amazon, but I had it before, and so I used it to like make a Zoom appointment, and then I got a doctor to like look at it over the internet. Thank you, God. And I have a little like cream or whatever, and I have to put a warm compress on it. But have you ever just woken up with your okay? Yeah. So have you ever just woken up with an eye thing? I don't know what the hell's wrong with my eye. Now, yes, I have eyelash extensions, but I've had them on for like 2 weeks. This feels not like that. It's one eye. It's not black and blue, which is weird. Like it's not bruised. It is swollen to the gills. Um, I hope you are in a lot of pain. Sending you good juice. Thank you so much. You know what? I'll be honest. It's not so much pain. Like especially my ladies who've given birth, like whatever. God bless. It's not painful though. It definitely is sore, and it's definitely annoying. Like I'm putting like lotion, like not lotion. I'm putting like whatever thing on it, and it's just that when that happens, it seeps into my eyeball, and then I like for right now I can't see anything. I have to like put a warm compress on. So basically, I've just like been putting either like a wet hand towel into this bag under warm water or putting it in the bag and just putting it into this heating pad for a second or just using the heating pad. That's my life right now. It's hard to do things though because it's like hard to like see. Obviously I can't wear contacts, can't wear makeup. I don't want to like sweat really. Like I feel like I don't want to sweat because I don't want to get stuff into that eye. I also know that I have eyelash extensions, which I haven't taken off. So I don't know if like the glues are anyway. So this is me done talking about the eye, but I feel like I had to bring it up because I mean, look at it. It looks crazy. And you're looking at me right now. So hi friends. Did you watch the new season of HEA premiere and did you enjoy it? That happened Sunday night. And of course, last night was the tell all part 2 of Single Life, which I love. I really loved the Single Life tell all. I just found it to be such a fun tell all, good, great quips. Not the best of all time, but like, they've done so many different things over the years. It didn't have any uh like new quirks, but specifically against the backdrop of the last 90 Day Fiancé season 10 tell all, it certainly was a masterpiece. Um, oh my God, can't take Rob the Knob. Yeah, I mean, season 10 with 3 boring ass couples. I mean, with like Devin and Nick and Sam and Citra and like, I mean, there's so many people that just like basically didn't talk, and then there was like so many people that over talked. Like, yeah, yeah, Nikki and Ashley, just like whatever. God bless, obviously. Jasmine. Okay, I want this to be here. Okay. So, my loves, let's start with HEA. So, we have a whole host of characters back for HEA. Some we're going to be like introduced to, and some, we got first episode. And there's some surprises along the way, and there's definitely some people we don't want to see, and there's definitely some people we're like, okay. Okay, so Emily and Kobe. So Emily and Kobe, we pick up. Emily and Kobe have had their second little babe, very, very sweet baby. And Coven is still coveting up a storm. And, for all intents and purposes, Kobe has gotten a job and God bless, makes money, which is lovely, for him, for the family. They're still very much living in Emily's parents' basement. Emily very much is like, I'm a stay-at-home mom, which I think was, like, always gonna be what's I love what I think when she said that to us, I was like, "Well, obviously." I mean, that's the obvious one. It would be more surprised like, you didn't have to say anything because you've been that, like, this whole time. You were like a stay-at-home girlfriend, like, you were a stay-at-home pregnant person. You've been staying at home, so I am interested in the math that is mathing for her, for how and yeah, how she gets out of her parents' basement with Kobe's like what looks like lovely, maybe not hopefully consistent like construction salary and her stay-at-home mom salary. Like and the 2 kids. But just kidding, it's actually 3 because since that baby on the show that we're watching was a baby, they've already had a whole other baby. You know what I'm saying? So now 3 kids. Emily is so Emily is a great character because she seems to lean into her personality traits being like an entitled sense of bossiness for someone who like doesn't really have like a leg to stand on like experiences and like accomplishments in the world in which to be standing upon and thusly looking down on other people and or making decisions in such a way. It's such a she's a and she knows it. She I think lovingly displays those characteristics for us for entertainment's value. And I feel like she's doing it with a wink, specifically how they set up what there is going to happen this season, which obviously is that Kobe's going to go to Cameroon, bring the whole family. The French side of Cameroon, there's a whole thing. Coven's learning French. I was really excited about that. So even in like the conversations of her going to Cameroon and like being with his family, she's like, well, I know that cultures are different. And they talk about, like how opinionated and or loud she's going to be. And she's like, well, we're going to have to see. She's just so like, she definitely has a no part of her that's going to be like, well, I'm going to be a loving, respectful person in someone else's land, as he has been in my family's home. He has shown nothing but the ultimate respect for my family and me since he's been here, and I plan to do the same when I'm there. She doesn't say that. She doesn't say it. She knows what she's doing. The best part of Emily also is Emily's dad, because Emily is, sometimes a vapid, insufferable character, and we know it. The best part is sometimes you get to see Emily's dad sit in the knowledge that she is with us. And I love it. I love those parts. I think they're a good addition on the show as opposed to some of them other people. So Sophie and Rob, I couldn't believe they were on. Like when that happened, I was like, what? Also, the timeline is so crazy now. Because then it's like we watched her and him together. She has brown hair. We watched them get married. Now we're gonna watch a whole season in between those two things where she's living with some random girl, still has those bad wigs. She's living with some random girl named Kay. Um, they are booed up in a bed with like some banner at the bottom of the bed of them being like BFF slash GFFs. Girlfriends forever or best friends forever, honey. I'm not quite sure. They don't know. You know, Kay does not have my aesthetic. It's so funny because, okay, I'm in my apartment in West Hollywood and I've had this apartment, I've lived here for a long time, like over 10 years. And it's time for me to like do a refresh of it. Not like everything. I love this couch. I love these pillows. I love these Muka art pieces, but I don't know about the red in my apartment. Moving on. I am going to change my bedding in my bedroom. And I'm going to change my bedding because the bedding I have in there I got is like champagne prosecco, kind of like gold and silvery kind of pop. It's I think I got it from like I don't know if I got it from Macy's or whatever, but it's kind of like little glam looking and is kind of dated in that way. And it's the other thing is unbelievably scratchy. All of it. It's the scratchiest fabric ever. Like because of this woven gold tint foil they put in on it, like it's not a comfortable duvet. It's like or duvet cover. All the shams, all of the pillows have this like fake gold weaving in it, and it's the scratchiest thing ever. Okay, so and it's stained. I also stained it with makeup. God bless. So all of this to say that I got new bedding, and my new bedding is like I'm very excited about it. It's like I looked at it a long time online at Anthropology, and I was like, yeah, it looks really pretty, and it would make me very happy. I think to come into this, I think that I would look at this bed, when it's made, walk into the room and feel like, oh my God, how lovely, how beautiful. I can't wait to like snuggle in. It's like a bunch of like white ruffles. It's basically a white ruffly bed. Okay. Very girly. Can't wait to put it in. But as I watch Kay and Sophie like roll around in this bed, I am like, it's so interesting how different aesthetics are. Kay's bedding is gray, black, tie-dye kind of, not tie-dye, but kind of like faded and has these like wisps of like whatever. I would say it reads like the bedding of an angry like 15-year-old boy. Angry 15-year-old boy, okay? But it's funny because like when I was first watching it on my computer, because that's how I watch television shows now, which I should just be calling computer shows. Shows where I watch my shows. It's funny because even when you say you watch your shows, then it kind of even sounds like you're like some grandma from like the 70s and your shows are your soap operas, which I don't mind. My grandmother watched a lot of Young and the Restless, and I find the music and of Young and the Restless to be, I don't even know if it's still on, I'm hoping it is. I think that the opening sound of Young and the Restless is so soothing. It's like mother's milk. Anyway, so I say this on the podcast, but when I was looking at Kay and Sophie in these sheets, it looked like the white parts of the sheets I thought were dog hair because we keep seeing this dog, right? And I just thought that Kay was the kind of girl that just like laid, never changed her sheets, slept with her dog. Her dog has long black, gray, white hair. And in this bed was nothing but black, gray, white hair. And I bled in my mouth. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, they want to make it seem like they have a grayish relationship as well when it comes to the platonic lines of Kay and Sophie's relationship. Obviously, we're hot on the heels of knowing certain things about Sophie and Rob. Sophie's rich. Sophie's from London. Sophie's bi. Uh, and whatever we know about Rob, he's an op. Can't get him together. He's Rob. So thinks he should be Jay-Z and Beyonce, but it's Rob the op. So Rob is like, okay. We at this point don't really know why they're not together. Things didn't work out. Like, they hadn't been filming. So like, we don't know, like, they didn't show us. It would have been nice if we had gotten like a throwback to them fighting. Like, we obviously know that there was like some emotional trust issues. We know that he hasn't had a job, we know that like they don't have a bathroom, and we don't know why she left and lives in Austin though. Like, we don't know how long she's been friends with Kay. Kay is not the friend of Sophie's that we met back in the day. When I mean back in the day, I mean first season we knew of them, which is, of course, what just happened, 90 Day Fiance. Like, when she brought that older friend that was like going to go clubbing with them, we also didn't know whether that girl was bi or whatever, because that's like the game we play with Sophie, is like whether she's like acting out her like bi fantasies and or like her like bi life in front of Rob, and whether Rob knows. It's like kind of weird. Feels kind of weird. But that's that. He cheated again or didn't stop. Oh, hi. Hey. Hi. Yeah, she said she hasn't seen Rob, so how does she support herself? Yeah. Of course, right now, Sophie already then had like some sort of internet presence, probably with pics. And Sophie now has all the internet presence you would need, with all the things. It's so interesting because there's so many ways to monetize influence. Like she's doing the things where of course she has a cameo, but she's like selling, like her beauty tips and all that stuff. So I don't know what she's doing, but you know, being rich. I don't know. Her mom obviously is the best part. Her mom is living in Mexico, is dating someone new, and visits, and the person that she's dating lives in Austin, so she has to visit them all the time. Also, Sophie for the first time like lays bare some truth about her mom, which is basically that it was like not always the easiest or the greatest, and her mom wasn't always the most sober or the most healthy, which you know is a thing that we've dealt with a lot, and I'm on the show, and it's hard, but I actually really love Claire, and I feel like I see her love for her, and um I do feel like Claire has a very best friend relationship with her daughter. She wants to be like Sophie's best friend. Every time she sees Sophie, she's like, "You're so hot," and the thing about it is like, no girl needs a best friend mom. That's the funny thing about like, I'm a cool mom, I'm not a real mom. Like, the thing about that kind of mom is that it's dumb. No woman, no girl needs her mom to be her best friend. Why? Because they have best friends. And also, we get to pick our best friends. Why the fuck would we pick some old lady to be our best friend? It's a very Every time I hear a mom say that, I'm like, that's what you want to be. That's your selfish, that's what you want it to be. And you view your relationship with your daughter as being one sided, how you see it, with no feeling of how your daughter needs a relationship with their mother in this world. No idea or no like empathetic nature of how this person you created needs this huge thing in her life and is not going to be denied of that because you would rather have a best friend than a daughter. Well, then I mean, fuck you. You pick your best friends. And I mean, like, it's a big red flag. So basically, yeah, we'll see what happens with there. Now, obviously, the HEA couple of couples that we were excited about going into the season, and then having heard the drama that has unfolded, like after it aired, we're like, holy shit, what's going to happen? And that is Nicole and Mahmoud. Oh, I love you, Renee. Thank you. Yeah, it's hard, but yeah, it's hard. Basically, so Nicole and Mahmoud. Obviously, then we know that with Nicole and Mahmoud have had some like hardcore issues where they have called the police and he has either been arrested or detained for alleged domestic violence of some kind. To my knowledge, no other information has been released. Like I did try to find out like like since that has happened, which is so suspect because it happened right before HEA premiered, and the fact that there's no update is also suspicious. I feel like I look so crazy with this eye. I look like Quasimodo. I feel like I want to like continue this whole YouTube like from the side, and like if anyone came in, they'd be like, "Why is that girl side profiling us?" And then you guys will know from this moment it's because I can no longer look at my eye. It looks so crazy. Okay, fine. So basically, sorry, I just got self-conscious. So basically, Nicole, as we pick up, is back in LA and she is happy to be here. And it's so funny because in season one, I had isolated exactly where she lived because I recognized the outer part of One Shot as being close to a comedy theater that I had spent so much time at that I knew every morsel. It was on Franklin and I found it. I don't think she lives there anymore because she said she got rid of her place. And I mean, you know, I'm assuming that she had to get a new place and I'm assuming that she has a little more money, but I'm not quite sure, but I'm hoping yes for her. And just in the cameo, like for someone like her, you know how like so I said Sophie is selling beauty secrets. Beauty secrets is a weird way to say it. Sophie is selling like access to whatever she considers to be her beauty ideals. You can like book a time with her. She like has like little things. I saw it on her like Instagram profile. But Nicole could do the same thing. Nicole could easily give styling consultation because Nicole has a very detailed eye, you know? Uh Is duvet synonymous with comforter then? A duvet is the inside part of a comforter. So like a comforter is usually one piece where there's just it's almost like the big pillow where there's just the outer part and the stuffing. A duvet is the inside, maybe made from goose down that you take out that you like can wash, and there's always going to be a duvet cover. So I bought a duvet cover and I'm changing out from my old duvet cover. So when Sophie and Rob said her duvet, I don't know if this girl meant comforter or I don't, because, you know, in Europe, I think they do what I'm saying. It's not well, I'm not quite sure. It depends. I don't know if she meant, I know this. There's no way that Rob has a two-piece duvet set. He has a comforter. I can't imagine that he like changes out his duvet. It does feel maybe like minorly European. So maybe that's what she meant. Rob did not have 6 duvets. Yeah, he has 6 blankets. I think, yeah, he thinks it means blanket. Um, I'm looking at Anthropology Bedding. Is it a duvet cover something you put out? Yeah, it's the I think it was Shyla. Let me just show it to you. Mm. Shyla ruffled. Yeah, I mean, I literally this was my birthday present for myself, is that I just was like, you know what? God, let me get this picture up. I just want to walk into this. Oop. Boop. Look at that. It's just tiered ruffles. Tiered ruffles that you can just like imagine seeing and being like, that fucking bed is girly and comfy. You just want to get underneath all those. It looks like 6 duvets. Okay, so that's the one I got. It's called Shyla. I got the 2 shams with the 2. There's European shams and regular shams. So God bless. Obviously Mahmoud's coming out. She buys him pajamas. She goes to like a local vintage store. I feel like I knew the store. I feel like it was off Melrose. I was trying to like see. I like love that she's in LA. Makes me really happy because I know that she's a stylish girl, and so like it makes me happy to see like where her choices are. I really like Nicole. Obviously, she has a whole personality, and it's so different from anyone else we have on the show. It's very quiet. It's kind of mousy, but she's very open and vulnerable. She's not afraid of those things and being open, which is the most important things for the show. Is like to show things, to be vulnerable. The horrible parts are when you're like contrived and put on by it. But here we are. Mahmoud comes and like, it's a little like, oh shit, because she's like, I hope he likes it here. And we're kind of like, well, from what we hear, the answer is no. And this affects you in some way. Mahmoud, I have some empathy for. I just don't like him as a person. I don't not like him either. I'm like whatever about him. Nicole, I like. So I want the best for her. So it's just that I don't think they ever had a good chance of ever making it because for some reason, I mean, he is so stilted and so small-minded in what he has seen and what he has experienced in life. I do not understand what Nicole sees in him. And plus Nicole lied to him by being like, yeah, I totally am interested in being Muslim and I want to do it. I can do it. I'm into it. Let's do it and I'll convert and get married. Except that I think she thought that she was going to go into it the same way Sam and Citra did, which is that he was going to say wink wink, he was going to do it, then never did it. And she thought the same thing and then she wink winked and then holy shit, she's Muslim and she can't do anything about it. Because she didn't realize that she had to like actually be the thing that she like swore to God and his family and him that she would do. That's on her. And she's seasoned. I love you guys. But the other thing about Nicole, and honestly, one of the things I like about her is that she looks young. And I'm so happy for her in that way. I'm happy for her because she really, I'm so glad that she's taking care of herself, that she looks healthy. And I feel like her skin looks great. Okay. Like to me, you cannot fake good skin at an older age. Like, because I can tell that if Nicole, and I think she's had very minimal Botox and or fillers, obviously it's minimal because like maybe a little tiny bit in her cheeks, maybe a little bit in her lips, and maybe a little bit of Botox in her forehead, and that is it. And it's tiny amounts, especially for anything on the show. She's maintained like a really supple skin, and I just by that alone and her style, the fact that she's always like try to be nice, except for the fact that she made a huge mistake by lying in front of God. She's trying her best, when we all make mistakes. So, and I do feel like she likes Mahmoud, but I feel like the reason why she likes Mahmoud is because she has to heal some sort of trauma and or insecurity in herself, and he somehow is a trauma bond with her over those things, but I actually don't truly believe that they have a relationship that is sustainable, nor do I think that they could be best friends. They don't seem to have any commonalities. Nicole was shopping like crazy. She left Egypt and came back to no permanent job. How is she doing all this? Well, she is vintage shopping. She's vintage shopping for pajamas. Those pajamas she's buying Mahmoud are like $3 to $6. Okay. Thank you, Jocelyn, for liking my bedding. Ashley and Manuel. So, in the timeline of the world that we know to be 90 Day Fiance, the multiverse, we have the tell-all. Ashley and Manuel from season 10. Ashley and Manuel are like, she's lost a bunch of weight. Then they go into this happily ever after, and she is a full spin instructor. Now we know her to be a witch, and she definitely the entire season never talked about working out at all, moving at all. Definitely not a job. Definitely not a job teaching. Definitely not even going to a spin class. Now, I'm not saying she didn't go to. I think that Ashley during that time could have gone to a couple of spin classes while filming and just like never talk about it. But definitely it wasn't a part of her like life where it was a job. Your girl, me, I love spin. I really like spin. I really enjoy it. It's making me mad right now because I'm so close to being able to spin in the sense of like where, I have SoulCycle next to me and I'm too scared to do it because of this eye thing because I cannot sweat into an eyeball right now. It's just crazy. So basically, Ashley is now on the podium teaching, which is like a whole, I mean, like crazy to me, except that she's famous and that part isn't crazy. Ashley on this bike wasn't bad. I'm just like, in my mind, I was like, is she keeping this up for 45 minutes? Is she like a full, I mean, you know how hard it is to like teach a spin class? It's very hard. You have to be on beat so entirely the entire time and choreo like, it's just, God bless her. So and I'm saying this from a professional point of view. I've taken babes. She knows what she's talking about. I've taken 514 Soul Cycle rides. 514. Maybe they have Ashley like teaching some classes here because it's like, yeah, I would sign up to okay. Having said that, I would sign up because I like to spin. I just got done saying it to take a class from her. So maybe if she's a fun personality and her class is like basically easy and she like doesn't really spin all the time and she kind of like spins when she wants to and then she gets out of off the bike and she can like talk to people and then jumps back on. Maybe that's what she does. It's just so interesting. Yeah. Um Even Manuel couldn't keep up. I'm impressed with Ashley. Yeah, maybe I mean, I would love to take a class with her. I was just so surprised. So, they're doing good on the show. Off the show, have you guys been talking? Renee always knows. I think like Reddit or Soap Dirt started to publish that like Ashley might have some like money problems. She might like have some debt problems, which you know what? I'm happy she's on the show. And one thing that she's done since I hope I didn't press it. One thing that Ashley's done since being on the show is like heavily, heavily promote her services. So instead of her beauty secrets or her style consultation, of course, it's tarot card readings. I would rather take a spin class from Ashley than a tarot card reading, especially a Zoom tarot card reading. I want to do something else. I don't think, I mean, I like tarot card readings, but I really want to do like some other kind of reading. I wanted to get my chart done or like have someone speak to like my grandma Mary for me or something like that. Anyway, so what am I doing? I should have got more water before I did this live. Beep. This eye is the worst. Yeah, Gino and Jasmine. I don't. I really wish we had gotten a break. The thing about happily ever after is happily ever after can come at any time after they get married. You know what I'm saying? So it feels like we already have so many couples, and we obviously have had two straight Gino Jasmine seasons like in a row. And we've already had a whole other one because that was the second time he went to Panama when he went back to Panama and they had the penthouse. So we've had so much of them and two literal cycles in a row. It would have been lovely to just take a little break, just take a breather with them, just have a moment of like respite from her voice and her like really intense screaming and like breakdowns and like kind of neurotic, toxic personality because it can be a lot. And specifically because we know that on HDA, we are going to have Angela and Michael, which is another version of that to me. And I feel like, in my mind, between them, at least we haven't had Angela and Michael in a second. And at least this is what I assume the last episode of, you know, the trilogy or whatever, it's been more of actually having him in America. So to me, that's more important. I would have rather just had them or not have either of them. I think at some point we're also supposed to have Ed and Liz. I can't even fathom the thought of having them because they're not supposed to be on this show. They're not an anime fiance couple. at all. I will not talk about them if they're on the show, period. Obviously, besides the fact that we know that Mahmoud and, sorry, Nicole had, yeah, drama after the season with, like a DV arrest. We obviously, I just said, know that maybe like they said that Ashley has like some financial issues. The worst of the worst, though, is this crazy situation where Michael was reported missing, but he had escaped, that she had like taken his keys and stuff, that she abused him, that he's gonna like go to the cops, and then all of it then again put into the social media atmosphere by the use of bloggers and Instagram, and then mysteriously no information is given. Like Michael has not released a statement at all, except to say that any Instagram pretending to be him is in fact not him, knowing that we're like hot on the season. So it's just very hard to take all of this really seemingly intense subject matter at face value when you have to with a grain of salt, because we have been sharped in the past and will continue to be sharped. Trina. The preview for Ashley and Manuel showed them in lawyer's office. She admitted that she had 100,000 in debt. Yeah. That's a lot of money in debt. That scares me. I mean, especially to me, it's also interesting, like how, the visa process is one where you have to have money to sponsor them, and you're sponsoring someone for like their time in America. It seems like the visa process in itself would have some kind of credit check involved to see if the person who is sponsoring the person from a foreign land can, in fact, pay for them. Like, I'm surprised that this wasn't brought to light before in the visa process and or having her visa denied, which obviously it wasn't. Everyone hates Ed, and they should. And they should. So let's move on. So okay, let's get to this tell all. Tell all. Part one. I think I said part two at the beginning of this video, and I'm so sorry. I think that one thing is not having contacts in my eyes. And this one is like blurry vision because I have like lotion. I keep saying lotion, it's medicine in it. I feel yeah, I feel not all there. I feel like I have brain fog a little bit. Like I feel when you can't see, yeah, when you can't see and you're just like warm compressing your eye, it feels so crazy. I cannot see from this eyeball at all. It's just covered in medicine. One eyeball glazed over with the medicine. It's so crazy. Ugh. So the tell all starts, and basically everyone is hanging out in their green room. They come in with their various clothes. Natalie is dressed. She looks like an aloe like influencer. She looks great. I love John's white jumpsuit. I think that everyone's like entrance outfit is really great. Tim and Veronica come in as mob wives, which it was a very obvious choice. Both of them are wearing furs in such a way. It doesn't even look that cold outside. A lot of the tell-all starts really in the green room. Everyone is very happy to see each other, which is nice, and they've watched everyone's thing and they're excited to talk. Initially, everyone's there, and it's pointed out that Chantel has not joined them in the green room. And it's also Debbie specifically is like, she brought her own hair and makeup person. She thinks she's so great or whatever. And it's like, to me, that's hater talk, because Debbie, like, if you want to be in the world of television, you better fucking believe that some people want to look a certain way. And you've been on God's green earth for so long, babe, that you know that Chantel has her own series and spinoff. Of course, Chantel wants to look a certain way. Like, It's also difficult because it's not always easy to go into a green room and like talk to people. Like a green room for all intents and purposes is a room where you are go to like blow off steam and kill time before you are in the space. But people obviously have their own dressing area, and by room it really looks like the dressing room area of 90 Day Fiance is like a massage parlor with just different drapes up to delineate space in one big open room warehouse. So when you bring your own hair and makeup person, you have to pay for that person to come. And so if someone decides to pay for something for their lives and you hate on that, it makes you look like a hater to me. To me, it makes them you look like a hater. Like if someone decides to use their money to do something that they want to do that doesn't affect you in any sort of way, that's and you had that choice too. That's their choice. To remark on it is a lot. Debbie, I feel like, is sat down before every tell-all by a producer, and she is told this. Debbie, we love you so much. You're the best. Let me tell you, you are the truth teller. There is no one like Debbie. We need a Debbie. We need a mom. We need a mom of wisdom. We need you to come in here and give these young bucks a thing or two, a piece of your mind. None of these people are doing it right, not like you, Debbie. Will you go in here and tell them all a piece of your mind they needed? You're doing them a service. Let me tell you, Debbie, everything that you've done and everything that you think is right. So definitely go in there with balls to the wall, opinions blazing, and have no shame. And she's like, gotcha, I'm Debbie. And she definitely does it every time. I came in late. What happened to your eye? I know it. Jesus. Isn't it so? I know. He's like, this eye is just the worst. I don't know what happened to my eye. I just woke up and my eye was swollen. My eye was sore Sunday night. I don't know what exactly happened. I woke up and the under eye part of this eye is just swollen. Like the bag is there, like it's like a huge swollen. I don't know, it hurts because it's like I don't know. I'm going to probably have to end this live soon just so I can go back, lie down and put a warm compress on, which is just, it's taken me down. Like, what do you do when this is your life? Like, they want me to put this medicine on 5 to 7 times a day. I'm also supposed to do this warm compress to my eye 4 to 7 times a day. It's just that's what God and the doctor said. So that's what I'm doing. Um, so basically, half of this tell-all is about Tyree not having sex yet. And everyone's point of view about that. Johnny, obviously, is shocked and he thinks he just got to get it done. Natalie thinks it's a beautiful, testimony to the pureness of his soul. Debbie is like secretly disgusted, but trying her best. Um, like everyone has their own opinions. Honestly, Tim and Veronica to me are a weird, not entertaining kind of like toxic troll couple. And I don't get their appeal in like any way. Not watchably, not romantically, not like, I just, her personality is grating. And I think that she's, doesn't understand, how toxic her behavior is. And I think that what feels like, I don't know if he's always been on this, but whether he is now like upped his ketamine levels, but Tim always acts, honey, like he is about to black out. I mean, he has like he doesn't look like he never looks healthy for sure. But no part of him even looks like alive. He has no sex drive. he obviously, like, is very sleepy. To hear Luisa go at him and say that he only drinks Mountain Dew is LOL and does make sense. It's also interesting because he's like, he's 43, he lives with roommates. Now that's kind of sad that she's going to shame him from a social economic standpoint if that's what's happening. But I will say, remember when he was told to us as someone who was like financially stable? Was that shocking to you? Because like one of the things I remember about Tim, and I watched that first episode, that first season of him and Jennifer, was that he made weird fancy guns and was successful at being like a fancy gun maker. He's a fancy gun embroidered, like fancy guns was his thing. It was like his niche, but he had like made quite a living, being like the guy to go to for a fancy gun. And the guns, like, I'm not a gun person, but because I viscerally am aware of the movie Romeo and Juliet, I was like always somewhat obsessed with Mercutio's gun. Uh, was it Mercutio that had that gun? Like, or with Benvolio, but in Romeo and Juliet, Baz Luhrmann's 1990s version of Romeo and Juliet, it's like set in like Mexico or like Baja, Mexico, or whatever the fuck it's set. But they have these like fancy guns that are in the aesthetic of like Our Lady of Guadalupe aesthetic. And I always like thought of that as being like a fancy gun. I looked at the gun and be like, it's a fancy ass gun. And so when Tim had this moment of being like, I'm a fancy gun maker and I make all this money with fancy guns, I was like, oh my God, Romeo and Juliet. So now I'm like, what happened to all that money? Plus, from that time to now, you've been on a whole goddamn television show. So if you were already making money with fancy guns, now you can add all your bullshit to that of like Cameo and fucking whatever the hell you else do. Like, how did you go from that to like having roommates? And the answer to me would be drugs and or gambling, which, by the way, one of the biggest news stories to me, besides where the fuck Kate Middleton is, which is like, where the fuck is she, is like Bruno Mars owes $50 million to MGM in Vegas for gambling. Do you know that? That's wild. That's wild. Is there no limit to how much you can owe a creditor? It seems crazy because does MGM just own Bruno? Like he like they don't own him, but like they don't own him because some of his like image and license like is whatever used, but like whether he's just going to play shows for the rest of his life, who knows? Someone told me this is kind of like what happened to Sammy Davis Jr. It's like these corporations now own you because of the fact that you have an addiction. And there's no, yeah, it's just interesting, I guess. What a crazy situation. Why do they keep loaning the money? Not my Bruno. Now he's in a cryptocurrency. I love that you guys all know this situation. Good luck with your eye. Thanks for showing us. I know. I know. You should lay down and compress and talk to us. I know. I probably should. I think Chantel is a beautiful idiot. Why didn't anybody understand that Tim has raised a child with Veronica and he will always be part of her life? So interesting because, yeah, like that whole part is crazy because when Tim and Veronica had their fight and Jamal was like, you weren't that great for Chloe. That's what she said. You weren't always there. That was an interesting part because she obviously didn't say either. No, she didn't say anything about that to Tim. They didn't ask about it. Like, what did that mean? Veronica, like, do you want to like address that? But to me, at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, but also she's not his kid. She's not his kid. So, I mean, why are you going to shame this man for having not done or done anything? If he did anything for her, that was nice enough. If he paid for anything for this girl that wasn't his baby, that's nice enough. What the hell do you expect this man to do? Sorry, I'm going to prep my thing by. Okay. My new warm compress. Chantel gave us like nothing. She comes out, she looks great, she gives us nothing. The only thing she can give us is like some weird fight with Debbie about Debbie thinking that she showed her vag, and then Tim being like, "Yeah, I also admit that you shouldn't have to show your vag." And it's like, Tim, thanks God. Tim will do whatever it takes not to see or experience the feminine form. Anytime a man remarks on a feminine form, it's so interesting. It speaks volumes. Jamal and Luisa coming out and like giving it to Tim and Veronica. It was kind of weird because they didn't explain why they were so mean. Like, Luisa, why are you there? Like, is it because you thought that Tim and you like were gonna be in love and he betrayed you? Because it very much looked like he didn't want to kiss you. You kissed him and now you're mad at him about it. I mean, girl, just move on with your life. You also look like it looks like producers were like, Luisa, you really need to come on and tell the world how fake they are. And it's like, oh, we really don't care about that because there's faker shit on this television stage. Who cares about that? Specifically because if that was what the producers told them to do, they definitely did not tell Veronica and Tim to like up the stakes or make it seem anything. They really let the air out of that by just being like, who gives a fuck? So, and that's how I feel. Yeah, but Chantel and Giannis are still together. Obviously, Jamal and Veronica broke up. Ruben and Debbie still talk. Tyree still talks to Raina. Natalie's still trying to figure things out with Mike. Just kidding. No, it's Josh because he had called and asked for a second chance. Now, this part, we're like, where are we in the world? Because from this time of this tell-all, Josh's son, had had an unfortunate accident that he posted and kept live updates on Instagram about. And during that time, which was about a month ago, I did a due diligence to see if Natalie, I don't know, had wished him prayers for his child that almost died, and she hadn't. In fact, at that time, they were not even following each other. So, where we are from this moment and that moment, it seems to be confusing. Natalie's outfit for this tell-all is hideous. She really did not come. I wish she had literally would just go back into that outfit she was like wearing with the black cap before. She was more like an influencer, like an aloe Instagram influencer than this really, really ill-fitting dress. Um, my favorite part of the hi, Suman, at least you're here. My favorite part of the tell-all and yours is this. Tyree, through his good grace and his great, spirit, is okay with everyone talking about his sexuality and his sexual experience, and everyone is remarking on what he should do. And they bring in Sarper, who we know as being someone who is a exotic dancer slash has slept with lots of women, says he, and he, in his best bro way, tries to give Tyree like tips on being with women. Now, the tips are, of course, cringy, and everyone who's watching is like, gross, and he is disgusting. But I'm going to warrant this. The manner in which he is giving this guy tips is incredibly, to me, authentic to Sarper. Sarper is trying, in Sarper's best way, to help this man. I don't doubt that Sarper moves through his dating life acting like a tiger about to get his catch or whatever the hell it is. I know because women like dominant men that is probably worked for him in the past. Not for every woman, but for some. Now, would it work for Tyree? I think a certain amount of his experience of being kind of a more dominant tiger would in fact do him well. Is his exact move of him coming from behind the bathroom it? No. But Tyree needs to get out of this kind of meek, I want the woman to lead kind of thing in order for him to, I think, feel good about himself. Because I think sometimes the action of pushing yourself into the hard space is the thing that actually gives you confidence, not what actually happens in the hard space. The act of pushing yourself into the hard space over and over again is what ultimately makes it easier to walk into the hard space. Not so much what happens in the hard space, because once in the hard space, and let's just say dating or asking someone out, once you're in that space enough times, there will be different outcomes. Some bad, some good. It's like statistics. If you flip a coin enough times, you will get enough heads and tails. You will get various answers, heads, tails, and a number of times. The act of flipping the coin is what's important. And I think that the act of asking someone out, the act of making yourself go out and be in social situations, the act of walking up to people and engaging in conversation, that's like what will help Tyree. Also, the other thing that Sarper did that I kind of have to hand it to him is that Sarper was like, "Hey, also, brother, you do this thing, just so you know, you do this thing where you kind of like do this little nervous little giggle thing, and it's kind of your tell. You don't even have to do it, buddy. Don't do it. You don't have to do it. I know when you're doing it that you're nervous, and you don't have to do it." And listen, he does do that thing. He does do that thing. Sarper gave him good advice. He gave him. I'm not. Maybe not everything was perfect, but you know what? With everything, as we move through this life, people are going to dispense their own projected advice on us, their own techniques that they have done for the various things that they've accomplished. And all we can do is be a sponge, take in, take in, take in, use the bits that sound good to us, use the bits that work for us, discard the bits that don't feel right, and then move through until we acquire our own tools and techniques and feel sound in them. And so to me, Sarper gave this man a couple of his tools and techniques. Tim is something. Tim is something. He said that Tim has said that he is not gay, but Tim is something where he doesn't feel comfortable in his sexuality, which he doesn't have to be open about that if he doesn't want to. But the thing is, he does have to be open about it if he's going to be on television and fucking with other people, which he is. So it's a weird kind of thing where it feels like we are like asexuality baiting. We're like something's up, but we can't put our finger on it. We have to talk about it because you present it for commentary on this television show, but we don't understand, and we don't understand what we're watching. One of the other parts of the tell-all, which is hilarious, is specifically Sean Robinson's relationship with Chantel, which is so much more like BFF Kiki girlfriends as opposed to Sean Robinson and any other cast member of this multiverse I've ever seen. I can't imagine that she is. I I think that she probably with Darcy is nicer than other people, but she's not friendly with Darcy in a way that makes me feel like she wants to actually hang out, where I feel like her and Chantel hang out. She asked Chantel of who's sitting in her DMs. Now, Chantel had a whole media TMZ story, MediaTicket.com story about how Drake had slipped into her DMs. And so when confronted with this, she gives a whole bunch of details about Waka Flocka, his mom, and all of that. I don't care. Waka Flocka. And when push comes to shove, like what's happening with Certified Lover Boy, she pretends to act demure, which makes me feel like she either signed an NDA or nothing happened. But for the fact that she was like, I hung out with Waka Flocka's mom, and then wouldn't be like, and also let me tell you about that Adonis. He's so super cute with his French accent. I know that French accent well because I've hung out with him. She didn't. She could have. Ah, my loves. That was the end of the tell all. Can you believe our lives? I'm going to have to let you go because, as you know, as I've mentioned, I'm going through an eye situation and now I have to compress my eye. What a life. But I am so thankful that we've spent some time here together. And I'm sorry I wasn't super able to like communicate back and forth as much, just because I cannot see the comments that well. But let's do our breath and breathe in. And bring out. I'm breathing out all my eye infection. Just kidding. I don't know. All my eye swollenness. Breathing and healing. Oh, my loves. This does feel good. I love to breathe with you. I'm excited about the springtime-ness. I'm excited to like do a couple of changes around the house. I'm excited to like get rid of some stuff. I'm excited to move through stuff. Wherever you are, I feel like, just so you know, everything in my life and everyone in my life is going through such craziness. So if that's happening to you, it definitely feels universal. I am sitting here with a red eye. It feels like, looks like I got in a fight with someone. I got in a fight with life. I don't have to tell you, but you should see the other guy. Um, Obviously, the podcast Docu Sweeties has a bunch of episodes, including every episode I've talked about here, already up in detail. And we also have some collabs coming up with Bad TV, and they also do the Another Below Deck podcast. If you listen to those fine folks, we'll be talking about 90 Day Single Life, this exact tell-all, plus the entire season, plus some cast controversies as a collab, and that'll be up soon. Plus, we have a collab with Sisters Who Watch, and we talk about the entire Traitors season 2 that was on Peacock. So that'll be fun too. That's coming up. But that's all of our docu sweeties. I'll be back next week, and I'll have a special guest. And I love you guys so much. Obviously, you can follow me on Instagram, although I wiped it clean as I just take a little break because it's a very hard time on those social media pages. But I'm at Chris L. Farah. Of course, I have Vanity Farah on Facebook, where I always post before I go live. And other than that, I obviously love you guys so much. Thank you so much. One last question, if you can. Wasn't horrible that Jamel said sweetheart to Tim? That was such a weird part. And it feels like gay. It feels like gay baiting. It feels like it was implanted on us so that we talk about Tim being gay and or not being gay. Jamal and Luisa's entire like trajectory there was confusing. Like, just go back to your mom, Jamal. I don't know. That's how I felt. Maybe it's pink eye. The weird thing is, it's not pink. I mean, what's my actual eye isn't pink. Maybe what's pink looks is like underneath. If it looks a little pink, maybe it's because I do have whatever lotion, medicated lotion just squirted in there right now. But what is it pink eye? Does pink eye make the bottom lid swollen? My top lid is not swollen at all. Like, this is fine. Completely fine. It's here. I don't know. This is like just whatever. God bless. I'm so sorry, guys. Are you like this insane person on YouTube is showing us our eye? Can you believe this? All right. I love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Please like this video if you haven't yet. And, give me a friendly comment after it's uploaded. Okay, babes? I'll talk to you later. Bye.